Rome burned. China traded silk to half the world. Rockefeller controlled 90% of American oil. And today, one man can lose $20 billion before breakfast. Different centuries, same game. What did it actually feel like to be that man? Not the number, the life, the power, the thing that eventually ended it. Because every era had one, and every single one of them fell. We're going back, era by era, to find out. One of these men was so powerful he made the Pope beg for money. Another was so dangerous the emperor couldn't kill him, so he just erased him. We'll get there. Era 1, Ancient Rome, 100 AD. The man who owned half the empire. You are Marcus Licinius Crassus. Or rather, you're the version of Crassus that every century produces. The man who figured out that wealth isn't about making money. It's about owning the thing everyone else needs. In Rome, that thing is property. And fire. You own Rome's only private fire brigade. 500 men, on standby. When a building catches fire, your men arrive first. They do not put it out. They watch it burn, and negotiate with the owner. You buy the building, at the price of a burning wreck, and then you put it out. Then you rebuild it. Rent it. Own it forever. You do this across the city, then across the empire. You own silver mines, slave operations, land in 6 provinces. Caesar and Pompey need your money to run for office. You don't buy power. You rent it to people who think they have it. Edge. You see every asset at its worst price and its future price simultaneously. While everyone panics at the fire, you see the rebuilt building. That gap between panic price and real value is your entire business model. Risk. Crassus dies in battle at Carrhae, 53 BC. The Parthians reportedly pour molten gold down his throat. A man who spent his life obsessed with wealth, killed by it, literally. The irony was not lost on anyone. Era 2, Song Dynasty China, 1100 AD. The man the emperor feared, you are richer than any king in Europe. One signature from the emperor can erase your bloodline from history. You are the head of a merchant clan in Song Dynasty China. Your ships carry porcelain, silk, and tea to the Arab world, Korea, and Southeast Asia. You employ 3,000 people. Your ledgers track transactions in 6 currencies. And yet, your wealth exists entirely at the emperor's permission. Not by law, not by contract, by imperial mood. So you learn the art of strategic invisibility. You give lavishly to the court. You name your ships after imperial victories. The goal? Indispensable, never threatening. The most dangerous thing you can be in imperial China is visibly successful. Edge. Agents in ports from Aden to Java. You know the price of pepper in Cairo before it reaches Chinese buyers. That information lag is months. The margin it creates is enormous. Risk. Back the wrong faction in an imperial succession dispute. Everything is gone, not damaged. Gone. The wealthiest merchants in Chinese history appear, flourish for 2 generations, then vanish from the record entirely. That's not coincidence. This is where wealth stopped being about trade and started being about systems. Era 3, Florence, Italy, 1450. The man who invented finance. You are Cosimo de' Medici. You don't trade goods. You trade money itself. You've invented the letter of credit, a document that lets a merchant in London pay a supplier in Florence without moving a single coin across Europe. The coin stays in your vault. The transaction happens in ink. You've made yourself essential to every merchant in Christendom. Without moving from your chair. Kings ask you for loans. Popes owe you money. You charge them, discreetly, and call it a service fee, because the church prohibits usury. When you own the bank that lends to God's representative on earth, you are, practically speaking, above reproach. Edge. Network as infrastructure. Branches in Geneva, London, Bruges, and Rome. If a client defaults, you freeze their access to European trade credit. No army required. Risk. Kings make terrible debtors. Edward IV of England defaults on Medici loans in the 1470s. The London branch collapses. Overextension into royal debt is how the Medicis begin their slow decline. Era 4. Mughal India, 1600. The man with more gold than God. You are a merchant noble in the court of Emperor Akbar. The Mughal Empire controls a third of global GDP. You are among its wealthiest private subjects. Your compound has 40 rooms, 200 horses, a private guard. You trade cotton textiles across the Indian Ocean to Persia, Arabia, East Africa, Southeast Asia. Indian cotton is so superior that European traders cannot compete on quality. Only on ships and guns, which is exactly what they start bringing. You are living at the peak of the world's wealthiest civilization, and from inside it, you cannot see the ships gathering on the horizon. Edge. India produces 25% of global manufactured goods in 1600. Your court connections give you pricing power no European trader can match. Yet, risk. The British East India Company arrives with a different trade strategy. Not exchange. Extraction. By 1750, the wealthiest man in India is the wealthiest asset of an empire he doesn't control. Era 5, America, 1890. The man who owned the country. You are John D. Rockefeller. You don't own a business, you own an industry. Standard Oil controls 90% of U.S. oil refining capacity. You set the price, you decide who ships, you own the pipelines. Your competitors don't fail, they get absorbed. You don't fight them, you make them an offer that's mathematically impossible to refuse. Daily life, up at 6. Same lunch, crackers and milk. Every day for decades. You live at Kaikit, private, controlled. You don't enjoy spectacle. Your wealth? $400 billion in today's terms, the largest fortune in American history. You are not living like a king. You are living like a machine. The wealth isn't the point. Control is the point. Edge. Vertical integration. You own the well, the refinery, the pipeline, the rail car, the distribution network. Your competitor pays you at every step. Risk, a government that decides you've become a problem. The Sherman Antitrust Act, a decade of litigation. The irony, it didn't work. Era 6, 2026. Elon Musk, the man nobody can touch. You are Elon Musk, the wealthiest person alive. Your fortune exists primarily as stock in companies you control. It's not money. It's leverage over a system that runs on belief. You don't own factories. You own platforms. The asset isn't the product. It's the relationship between the product and every person who uses it. Your wealth grows while you sleep. Not because you're working, but because the system you built keeps working. You move between houses on 3 continents. Private aircraft, a security detail that costs more than most nations spend on their militaries. You fund your own space program. SpaceX, now the backbone of America's orbital infrastructure. You own the platform the world argues on. X. You make the cars the world is switching to. Tesla, possibly your own political movement, definitely your own reality. For the first time in history, the richest man on Earth doesn't need a country. He can buy his own. Edge. Network effects. The platform gets more valuable with every new user, without proportional cost. Rockefeller needed a pipeline. You needed a server farm once. Risk. Every government wants a piece of your tax base. Every regulator sees you as a test case, a 12-country antitrust investigation, a Senate hearing broadcast globally. The Roman method, military campaign, is gone. The modern version is slower, and it's already started. 6 eras, 6 different men. 1 pattern. Crassus owned fire. The Medici owned credit. Rockefeller owned oil. Elon Musk owns rockets, the platform, the cars, and the satellites. Simultaneously. Every era's wealthiest man found the one thing that everything else ran on, and put himself between it and everyone who needed it. The tools change. The leverage point changes. The strategy doesn't. Find what people cannot do without. Own the infrastructure. Extract the rent. Every man on this list looked at the same world as everyone else and asked a different question. Not, how do I get money? But what does money flow through, and who owns that? That question, across 6 centuries, 6 different economic systems, produces the same answer. The man who owns the choke point owns the century.